China is one of the countries that is tackling corruption head on. President Xi Jinping launched his anti-corruption campaign shortly after he came to power in 2012, and he's vowed to continue and expand the fight against corruption. I want to bring in now Liu Baocheng for more on all of this. He's the Dean of the Center for International Business Ethics at the University of International Business and Economics. How is China viewing this global summit, would you say?
Well, China actually attach great importance to this global summit because it's the first global effort taking place against the anti-corruption, with the anti-corruption efforts, and China has really played heavyweighty against those corruptive behaviors, and the China's government is resolved, and the popular opinion is highly supportive to go to drive deep in the anti-graft effort. So I think when China is also getting more and more globalized, it needs the global coordination so that those corrupt politicians or business people won't really have anywhere to escape. And better dialogue needs to be reached as how to define corruption, as how to devise the roads to catch or extradite the corruptive people. So China is really welcoming this one, and also China is willing to collaborate with the rest of the world to carry through this the anti-corruption effort.
Our top story, of course, the corruption scandal in Brazil that is at the center of the impeachment process against President Dilma Rousseff. And you've got organizations, of course, like FIFA, rocked by a corruption scandal. It seems like corruption in the news quite a bit of late. You travel the world quite a bit. How is corruption impacting individuals and societies? How big a problem is this, do you think?
Well, corruption is a social disease that really impairs the integrity of the society, integrity of the organization, and also the personal well-being. So when business is getting bigger, and the power is really easily abused, both in business and also political circles. So that really undermines the social equity and hinders the development, and also the sabotage the confidence for people in those power circles, either politically or economically. So it really calls on the collective efforts of the media, of the judicial circle, and also the public to work together on a global scale to stamp out, or at least to minimize its impact.
But we're looking at these big cases. You know, we talk about Brazil and FIFA. But what's interesting about China is this approach of tigers and flies. How important is it that you go after the big cats, but also even on the smaller scale, because the corruption can start low and move its way up, right?
That's right. So whenever there is the unchecked power, there is the ground for or soil for corruption. So therefore, China is carrying out institutional reform, and also with the intervention of the Communist Party to discipline the power use in the decision-making process, and tries to bring transparency over the officials. So I think a mounting task for China is how really we can define a clear line between the market and the government, so that there is less involvement in economic decision-making from the power circle, which is likely going to provoke the corruption. And the other is really, a lot of people are proposing the sunshine law, so that people, those people who are in power needs to be exposed to public scrutiny. And the rule of law is, of course, the fundamental solution, so that everyone is playing on an equal footing. And lastly, I think the freedom of media is also very important to constantly check on, what is going on in those circles that might likely invoke the corruption.
Do you see signs of improvement, or is this just human nature? We're always going to be battling corruption.
Oh, that's right. So this is really human nature. Whenever there's unchecked power, so I think we have really seen substantial improvement both globally and also in China. And for China per se, the government resolve to deal with tiger and flies is really manifested and also welcomed by the general public, both in China and also the rest of the world. And we really devised a sort of a two-cage system, with one cage dealing with the law and the other cage dealing with the party discipline. So these are getting effective and has really gained back to a certain extent the public confidence. And in the meantime, we can see that there's less lavish banquets at the local government, and there's also the sort of public participation in decision making and also the private participation in those areas that are monopolized by state-owned firms. So these are the tangible progresses that China has made. And of course, we have a long way to go to further introduce the rule of law into the Chinese society, and also the proper function of the media as a civilians to those power abuse which is possible.
If you like what you just saw, follow us on social media and visit our website, cctv-america.com.